Here is a look at your gap and go trades for the week of October 27th through the 31st. I will go over price targets on the 5-minute time frame, have a gap recap from October 20th through the 24th, and update the chart as well. Hi everyone, it's Dow on the Dow. I cannot believe this is my 100th video. First up is Boeing. We ended the week at $221.35, up 1.64%. This is where we landed. To the north side takes us to one level of resistance and a potential take profit area, as well as resistance at 223.44. Above that, at another level of resistance and another potential take profit area, 221.35. And don't hold your breath for price to get to this level on Monday. Definitely some other time, but I don't think we're going to get there on Monday. And if we do, you know what's going to happen. That would be 225.90. To the south side takes us back to the middle of the trend. And that is roughly 220.94. This is an old middle of the trend line, as well as this one. But one level of support would take us down to 218.46, 217.17, and roughly 215.92. This is support, a potential buy-in, a potential stop-loss area, as well as this area and this one. Depends on what you're trying to do and what side of the line you bought. Now, looking left, what happened? Well, we had a gap that opened up at the beginning of this week, starting from Monday the 20th through Friday the 24th. And this gap is still in play to the downside because there's always a downside, even though we are in an upward channel on the 5. That will take us down to 213.28, and it will start at roughly 214.93. I might as well just mark it out while I'm here. Or 96. Right, and then we have a gap also that will take us down to 217.94, and it begins, let me turn on my magnet, at roughly 218.51, closes out at 217.94 if you like to go short. And you can see here was your sell line, and then we popped above that. This was also a sell line. All along here, clear signals to sell and take profit if that's what you're trying to do. We went sideways, back down to support, touched this line multiple times. On the way back up, we're at resistance. Busted through that line, just chopped sideways. Basically, all you're doing is resting along this line. Price action is. And you can think of this as the guardrails. This is your car where you should be or where it tends to stay in the travel lane, and then your rail guards. All right, what else? And then after, I shouldn't say after, previously, that's closed. We have earnings coming up as well. So let me just, I was just double checking the gaps. So we're estimated to bring in $22 billion. And we've had some headaches and heartaches with this one, all over the map. And the 1-year price target is 258.45, which represents a 16% return. And then to the south side, 217. And then above those areas, 258 and 287. I am in this trade for my mom. And where did I buy? I bought it at 125.45 for her. And one other thing to note very quickly. So all I'm looking at is from that white line to this white line. Well, at the end of the week, if we continue to go up, the middle of the trend could take us to 229.25. And then the outer bands, 231.77, 232.92, and fingers crossed, that would be lovely, 234.24. And to the south side, 226.80, 225.61, and 224.20. All right, next. NIO, we ended the week at 690. Option R to reset. What happened here? First, let's give you some price targets. Many levels of support and resistance in between that's -2 and 2 standard deviations. And then obviously the lines will also change. So just because I say that this is for Monday, it's getting recalculated. So I'm giving you a range. 707, 713, and roughly 719. The middle of the trend is at 695. We could chop sideways or follow this line up, the green line. 682, 676, and 670. Note the areas of support and a bounce, and here as well. And this is resistance on the way up, support on the way down. This is still in play to 717. This gap that was expected to close did. That took us to the north side at 703. Let me just delete this. That will take us to 694, but oh well. Yeah, because it looks like it's with this gap, so I don't want to confuse you, so I am going to delete that and then put it back over here. And then your sell line, your next sell line, and then your spidey senses should be on fire. You know what to do right here if you're trying to get in, get up, get out. And this gap close, also an expected move to 682. Congrats if you went long from down here. We gapped down and then we filled it right there. Wait, that was down. There we go. It touched right here. And this one touched as well down to 681. And we have right here at 676, I mean not right here, but over here on Wednesday the 15th, taking us down to 676. I'm on the wrong area. There we go. And then we have another gap up here, not in the channel, not in the zone, something to be aware of though. But this is closed out and expected move right there. 750, delete. I forgot to look left and clean up my chart. Oh, and look at, okay, that's done. Well, let's clean that up just a hair bit more. All right, you see a lot of gaps to the south side for NIO. We're not done bleeding out, even though we're on an upward channel on the 5. But by the end of the week, the middle of the trend could take us to 713 and the outer band 738. Next up, let me blaze through this. Nike. The middle of the trend is now 69.52. That's also resistance. We could chop sideways or continue upward. 70.09, 70.38, and don't hold your breath for Monday, perhaps some other time, 70.68. Support, 68.93, 68.63, and 68.36. Looking left, this gap opened up, taking us down to 65.31, and I will mark the upper channel, 65.57-ish. And we have this one that's still in play. 60, where is this? Oops, I think it got moved. I'll delete that. It should be 62.39. And we have this one taking us down to 58.38. Got a price. Oh, look at this. What happened here? Did we touch? Was there a touchdown? No. Close, but no cigar. And then this one is also still in play. Next up is RIVN. $12.98. Resistance, 13.30, 13.45, and roughly 13.62. To the south side, 12.96, 12.64, 12.49, and roughly 12.33. Looking left, here's your clear area of support as well as here, bounced right off that line. This gap closed to the upside at roughly 12.96. And that is a buy signal. On the way up, we are at resistance, but we busted through. Okay, that's your sell signal. This is your clear buy signal, resistance, and then we touched this line. That was your resistance and then fell down, chopped sideways. And let's look at this. $13.15. This touched right there on the 25th. Took us down to 13.64. Delete. And we have this one still in play. Here's your resistance and a sell-off. All right, the next one and final one is TSLY. I took this trade this week. First, let's give you some targets. 826 is where we ended. And what happened? There was a dividend payout here on the 24th. $8.26 resistance, back to an area we've been, $8.44, $8.54, and don't hold your breath for Monday, perhaps another day, $8.65. Now I will mark out the middle of the trend. That is now $8.23. We could chop sideways or continue to go down. And that will be $8.03, $7.92, and roughly $8.72. Looking left, you can see clearly these were your buy signals, your buy signal, and your buy signal. On the way up, that's resistance and your sell signal, as well as these other lines I have marked out. So what happened? This gap closed on Thursday the 23rd. Let me delete that. And then this one touched right here on this wick, Friday the 24th. Delete that. I sold some at 240. I just bought in, where did I buy in? Right here on the 23rd, Thursday. It went down even more, but I picked it up at $8. And I was aware of this gap and I was considering selling out on it. And I could have here or here. Wasn't paying attention, didn't really want to, didn't really care. So I am still in this trade. So am I gonna set a sell order? I might at 2 standard deviations or at 3 and roll the dice. Oh, wait a minute, did that close? No, that closed right here on the 23rd, taking us down to 808. I gotta go through and fix this. But that is a look at TSLY. And what else? I think, oh, I need to clean that up. Delete. This one touched down on the 15th. Let's delete that. That took us down to, it's hard to see, 831. All right, I think that is it. And I turned my candles to the Heiken Ashy so that I cut out the noise and remove the gaps. But if you want to see the gaps, go to Candles. And now you can see all the gaps. All right, that does it for me. That is a look at the 100th gap and go trades for the week of, what is that? The 24, let me see, I wrote it down. 27th through the 31st. All right, have a great trading week.